Hello and welcome to News Round, a recap of stories that made headlines this week. The headlines. 7-story building under construction collapses in Banana Island area of Lagos State. Government begins investigation into the cause. Federal Executive Council approves installation of baggage scanners at railway stations in Abuja and Kaduna at the cost of 495 million naira. The council also gives approval for the maintenance of the third mainland bridge to the sum of 6.27 billion naira. The House of Representatives ad hoc committee on oil theft initiatives invites Finance Minister, SGF, NNPC and others over investigation into the loss of over 2.4 billion naira in revenue from alleged illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015. Plus 21-year-old U.S. Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira arrested by FBI over Pentagon document leaks. And that's News Round in view. Once again, welcome to the program. We begin News Round on Lagos State, where the government is commencing investigation into the cause of the collapse of a 7-story building under construction in Banana Island area of Lagos State. The government is also to conduct integrity tests on buildings around the collapse site and has halted all ongoing building development projects there, subject to the comprehensive audits of ongoing projects by the government. Meanwhile, one body has been recovered from the rubble as the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency workers continue search operations. 25 people were rescued from the site when the building went down on Wednesday, and they're all doing fine.
Jesus!
This is the moment the 7-story building caved in, and before now, every visual, every account about the incident were from eyewitnesses.
Oh my God.
Journalists had, however, made attempts to go into the estate for coverage, but met with a brick wall.
Without saying anything, you kept us there. You can't keep us outside for hours. Where is the CSO? Please focus.
The estate management says it is following laid-down security protocols. After waiting for hours at the gate, this dramatic turn of events played out.
I'm not for sure. I'm telling you. Listen to what the authority of the said. The man that has just spoken.
We have right to an information. I want to know what.
After the pushing and shoving, men and women of the press were allowed into the building collapse scene to film. More facts are emerging. In this particular case, no fatalities recorded, yet the contractors have been identified, and the state government says it is investigating what could have led to this incident.
Yes, it's a site of 4 units, 4 complexes, as you can see. It's all interlinked. One has been affected, all right? The other 3 are still standing. The Lagos State government, what we're looking to do is to do an integrity test on it. So far, our investigation is ongoing. And at the end of our investigation, the next steps will be decided.
Names, contractors, developers?
Well, the name of the contractor, I believe, is Joe Faraday. That's the name of the contractor of the development.
Person, please.
We are using a hammer and excavator with cranes together. We started moving from one layer to another. And during this emergency response, we are able to rescue 7 people alive. Those people that were rescued were treated on the spot and discharged. It's only one that was taken to a private hospital where he's receiving adequate treatment.
Agencies of government and other stakeholders are here to assess the situation.
There are various government agencies, and I know they've done a lot of, preliminary checks on drawings and, bedding schedule and all that. but maybe some way, somehow there's been sharp practices or deviation from the specifications. That is what I want to advise that we should, desist from. This collapse building definitely have got a lot of money, and the collapse is not a gain to the owner.
As emergency management officials continue to comb the rubble to ascertain that no one is left under the debris, the Lagos State government is still confronted with finding a lasting solution to building collapse cases in the state. In 2021, a 21-story building under construction caved in the same upscale neighborhood, killing more than 50 people. Dare Idou, Channels Television News.
As part of measures to enhance security on rail transportation in the country, the Federal Executive Council has approved the provision and installation of baggage scanners at railway stations in Abuja and in Kaduna at a cost of 495 million naira. The Minister of State for Transport, Mr. Ademola Adeguroye, stated this after the council meeting presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The Minister of Works and Housing also announced a fresh contract for the maintenance of the Third Mainland Bridge at 6.2 billion naira.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, chairs the Federal Executive Council meeting on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is in Saudi Arabia on an 8-day official trip. Approvals to advance the security of the nation's transport infrastructure were among critical considerations. At a briefing, the Minister of Works and Housing announced a 6.2 billion naira fresh contract for the maintenance of the Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos.
This contract responds to the potholes that have become manifest on the entire pavement of the deck of the bridge, spanning 11 kilometers, and the interchanges, Adeniji Adele, Adekunle, and Bagada ramps that all link the bridge. This is for the resurfacing of all of that.
The lack of proper monitoring to forestall the persistent theft of infrastructural components on the bridges is one challenge the minister insists can be resolved.
It's one of my proposals today for consideration and recommendation to the next government is to move the Federal Road Safety Corps away from the SGF and let it become a parastatal supervised by the Ministry of Works, whoever that may be, so that there is a proper alignment of responsibility, because if you build the road, somebody has statutory responsibility to secure it. That person better report to the main organ instead of through a third and remote organization.
Another 495 million naira approved by the council is targeted at advancing the security of some of the nation's railway facilities.
We are starting the railway revolution. We are trying to put in place a lot of things in the railway. We don't want people to come and damage all that government has been trying to put in place in that sector. And so today there was a memo before council for the provision of baggage scanners at railway stations, and the scanners cost 495 million naira.
A total of 42.3 billion naira is approved by the Federal Executive Council for the Ministries of Finance, Transportation, as well as Works and Housing. From the Presidential Villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
We move to the National Assembly now, where the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee has invited the Finance Minister, the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, among others, to answer some questions. It's in connection with its investigation into the alleged loss of over $2.4 billion in revenue from the illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015.
The House of Representatives continues its investigation into a whistleblower's allegation of illegal sale of 48 million barrels of Nigeria's bonylite crude in China in 2015, valued at $2.4 billion. The Speaker, through his representative, is concerned about the safety of the whistleblower.
The policy is without statutory backing, and the receipts and expenditure of these proceeds it does appear to conform with the constitutional provisions, and the payment of compensation does not appear to be somehow transparent. Let me state emphatically that while whistleblowers who may have volunteered information to this Honorable House will receive the maximum legislative protection and confidentiality.
One of the agencies invited is the Code of Conduct Bureau and is represented by a former member of the House of Representatives and present federal commissioner at the Bureau. He said he had moved the same motion in 2017 and investigation was concluded.
After 7 years, we are still where we are. I'll be talking, I'll be speaking. That is not the issue. It is the will, the commitment to see that Nigerian resources that have gone to global destination should be brought back to Nigeria.
The motion you then move in the 8th Assembly was the investigation concluded, and if it's concluded, so that we'll be able to have it as a referral document, the clerk can get that report that was laid.
Investigation, to the best of my knowledge, was perfectly done, and it was brought to the Committee of the Whole as I did. Whether it was unanimously passed is what I cannot recall.
The committee then extends further invitation to all relevant ministries, departments and agencies while accusing the Minister of Finance of violating the whistleblower policy.
If there are recoveries being made from whistleblower revelations, we expect those monies to be paid into the accounts of the Federation as required by law, and if any expenditures to be made, it should come through the National Assembly. But that does not appear to be the case, and we are inviting the Honourable Minister of Finance, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, and all other stakeholders involved in the implementation of the whistleblower policy to appear before the committee.
Meanwhile, a group of protesters had earlier besieged the National Assembly, asking the House to halt the probe, as the matter was in court already. The House is, however, proceeding with its investigation.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, says he is dissatisfied with the level of construction work on the permanent site of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies. However, he stated that the President will commission the 50 billion naira project situated on the airport road in Abuja in 30 days.
This is the permanent site of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILS, situated along the airport road in the Federal Capital Territory. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, the Director General of the Institute, Mr. Abubakar Sulaiman, and officials of Julius Berger Construction Company are here to inspect the project. Mr. Gbajabiamila is dissatisfied with the level of work on the project.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that we're still at this stage and that there's nobody working.
The permanent site of the institute is estimated to cost over 50 billion naira. Channels Television's attempt to speak to the project coordinator for Julius Berger did not succeed. However, off camera, he states that the company is still owed a substantial outstanding amount of a contract.
You can do your finding, but that is roughly about 50-something billion. And now we have done 47 billion for the phase one. The outstanding, according to their position before our governing council about a year ago, was to say they require 7.something billion, 7.5 billion to complete. And now we have 2.5 billion in the budget. So, and we're still talking to the executive to grant us more intervention. I think that should be okay for them to do something. They promised the mail to us that they will move back to sites. They renege on their promise. And that is why the Speaker is furious that this project, this edifice must be commissioned in the next 30 days by Mr. President before he leaves office.
The institute is established to strengthen the legislative capacity of federal lawmakers.
Excellency, welcome, sir.
At a separate event in the National Assembly, The President of the Senate met with the management of a National Assembly Service Commission, where he emphasized the need for the Commission and the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies to build the capacity of first-time legislators who will make up a significant number in the 10th Assembly.
What this means is in the 10th Assembly, we must make provision immediately for capacity building for members of the National Assembly that will be new, if we want to achieve our goals and our set targets.
Senator Lawan also wants the permanent sites of the Institute to be completed promptly, as well as the provision of a befitting accommodation for the National Assembly Service Commission.
When News Round returns, ICT experts identify digitization of governance processes as the cure for corruption. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Experts in the information and communication technology sector have identified digitization of the governance process as a cure for corruption in the various sectors. They made the assertion at a forum on economy digitization in Abuja. The event, which also witnessed the signing of a partnership agreement between NEGST Technologies Limited and Visa Incorporated, is aimed at strengthening Nigeria's digital infrastructure.
Digitization of the Nigerian economy is central at this gathering, and the host of the event and executive vice chairman of NEGST Technologies Limited, Mr. Babatunde Obada, sets the agenda for the event.
What do we really mean by economy digitization? It appears to be a very huge, broad and large topic. Right now, what constitutes the Nigerian economy? We are excelling all over the world now in the creative industry. Nigerian music, Nigerian films, and all of that is popular across the world. That is an aspect of our economy. We have oil and gas. Now, a lot of these sectors of the economy, they are operating in silos. They are operating in silos. They are not talking to each other. Everyone is doing his own thing. And it should not be so.
The Minister of State for Transport gives assurances to the company and its strategic partners Visa that the government will reinforce action on the digital sector, especially so that cutting-edge partnerships like this can succeed.
The world is moving to digital economy and information technology. Therefore, this is a step in the right direction for the development of our economy. I welcome the management of Visa Incorporated to Nigeria, and I sincerely appreciate your belief in investing in this country. You can be rest assured that your investment and your interest in Nigeria would achieve success, I assure you.
Other speakers highlight the advantages of digitization of governance.
One of the key things I remember was the issue of paying custom duties, because people feel that that is where you can cheat the system and maximize your profit or whatever you're doing. But once the digital system comes in, there's no opportunity for man-to-man interaction.
Whether you talk of oil theft, hijacking of vessels, loading crude in the high seas, you can tackle such problems with digitalization. Because right from production to the measurement of the oil produced, the data in our country is very scanty.
The chairman of the Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, is represented by the head of repertorial of Abuja Station, Gloria Omezioke, who shares his remarks with the stakeholders.
Dr. John Momo most certainly believes in your unshakable conviction that Nigeria really deserves this path and to grow in this path, in this defining moment of our life. And we're hoping that we'll have a very successful partnership with all of this. Congratulations.
NEGST Technologies Limited and Visa Incorporated then signed a strategic partnership agreement which is aimed at improving Nigeria's digital infrastructure. Dele Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
Well, let's talk health now. Parkinson's is the fastest growing neurological disorder, but very little is known about it, even among health workers, especially in the developing world. That is why, as Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the World Parkinson's Day, The Adewumi Desalu Parkinson's Foundation put together a forum for healthcare professionals across the country to get a better grasp on this life-altering disease.
Parkinson's is a disease of the brain characterized by challenges with motion. It could also affect cognitive and memory function. According to estimates, the prevalence has doubled in the past 25 years. The Adewumi Desalu Parkinson's Foundation, named for the man, an engineer by profession, who also had the disease in later life and left behind a wife, Maureen, and family, devoted to expanding the frontiers of knowledge of this ailment, is holding an online forum for health professionals across the country to be able to identify symptoms in their patients which may point to the disease.
In 2019, the global estimate was over 8 and 5 million individuals having Parkinson's disease. Dopamine is very important for our smooth movement, for initiation of movement, for a lot of physiological functions in the brain. What happens when these dopaminergic neurons are lost? These functions are lost.
So you can actually tell Parkinson's disease from other causes of Parkinsonism using the TrueDart scan or the DART scan. These are actually research tools. They are not yet into the mainstream of medicine. Dr. Shaima alluded to the fact that the diagnosis of Parkinson's disease is largely clinical, meaning it's what I see and what you tell me that I'm able to make a diagnosis. You can't be using that scan for the average person in order to make that diagnosis. But these things are coming on. We just have to know that they are there somewhere in the, as part of research development.
Mrs. Ifeanyi Deborah has early onset Parkinson's. She comes to the Center for Therapy.
Apart from the tremor, I experience stiffness and freezing.
Whatever the challenges they may have, we carry out exercises to meet up those challenges. It could be the slowness in their movement, it could be their freezing, it could be, pain, whatever challenges that they may have. Their physiotherapy sessions are tailored towards those challenges so that they can move better and they can have a good quality of life.
Mrs. Deborah says the therapy really helps.
The medication helps me to move my body because in the initial time, without the medication, I cannot move my body, I cannot sleep well, I cannot turn as much as I want. But because of the help of the medication and the exercise, I can be able to turn and move my body and sleep well.
Nobody knows the exact cause of Parkinson's, but some things are considered risk factors, and it also comes with classical symptoms.
People who are within the ages of 60 and 65 are at risk of coming down with Parkinson's. There are motor symptoms and then there are non-motor symptoms. The motor symptoms are the symptoms that are visible, the ones that you can see. So if you see someone who has tremors, who is shuffling while moving, someone who has stiff posture, and someone who has a stooped posture as well. So sometimes those are the motor symptoms of Parkinson's.
Parkinson's disease has no cure, but if detected early, can be managed. Proper management could slow progression of the disease, and that's why recognizing symptoms early is important.
There is a longer route to diagnosis. Why? Because a lot of people, including healthcare professionals, don't understand the classic symptoms to look out for when to diagnose the disease.
Doctors see quite a number of patients in the course of their work. So a person may come to hospital presenting symptoms of another disease or complaining of other things unrelated to Parkinson's. But if the doctor is trained to recognize symptoms of Parkinson's, the doctor can quickly mention that there might be those symptoms might be indicative of Parkinson's and the person should go to see a neurologist. Early detection is key.
The man for whom the foundation is named is known to have fought valiantly with the disease until the very end, while working to expand knowledge about the disease. It does not help that seemingly unrelated and generalized symptoms like sleeplessness and constipation can go on for years before recognizable ones like tremors show up. But research is continuing to come up with tools that will pick up brain activity early in the journey for quicker and more effective management, and someday, treatment. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
Finally, on News Round, Attorney General Merrick Garland has announced that a member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard has been arrested by the FBI in connection with a leak of classified documents that have been posted online. The arrest of 21-year-old Jack Teixeira comes following a fast-moving search by the U.S. government for the identity of the leaker who posted classified documents on a social media platform popular with video gamers.
I'm joined today by Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco and FBI Director Paul Bate. Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. Teixeira is an employee of the United States Air Force National Guard. FBI agents took Teixeira into custody earlier this afternoon without incident. He will have an initial appearance at the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts. I want to thank the FBI, Justice Department prosecutors, and our colleagues at the Department of Defense for their diligent work on this case. This investigation is ongoing. We will share more information at the appropriate time.
And that's News Round for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.